all likelihood, that meter was on and open for 20 plus years, dumping water underneath underneath this structure. I don't even know what to think about that. All right, what I was gonna say is we got our first piece of equipment. We got a bucket for it, 42-inch. Auger, trencher, forks. Trencher's not here yet, it's coming next week. CTX 100 Vermeer. So we're gonna learn how to run it today, and then it's ours. Pretty exciting. Needed this for a while, but just, I don't know, I've been too scared to buy something this big, price-wise. So today's Wednesday. I was here yesterday working on the solar thing. I still didn't find a good solution, but it's charging at over 100 watts now, so I don't know. It's kind of working-ish. Kind of. Nathan's favorite word is ish. Kind of working-ish.
Black and white makes it gray and fuzzy.
Yeah. So we are kind of organizing this trailer because it needs to happen, and that's what we could do today. Chuck is flattening out the ground some. Engineer's coming Friday. Engineer's not coming till Friday.
See my rock pile I made?
Where?
All that concrete we've been going around and we've been loading buckets.
Nice. We can carry on with that. We do. That's what it's for.
That's pretty
It looks better now.
It's spilled coolant on my leg.
I got some more diesel.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's the point of the thing. The thing is the
I
thing.
told the guy, and see with your leg right here, it's splashing.
Yeah. Did
I
you open
told
it?
the guy it was, maybe they just had it overfit, but now it looks a little higher than it was. So until it finds out its operating level and stuff.
Yeah, but this is dry.
Yeah, maybe it already did its spill. They
It
probably
just picked you.
They topped it off and they picked me.
It didn't get any on me, so I wasn't using it as much. The engineer's not coming till Friday. He's in Fort Klamath today. He's in Alturas tomorrow.
Yeah, we can pour these.
She said no. She said don't pour them until he looks at it. I said okay.
Well, we can't really bore right there. It's under the...
I know, that's what I said. She said it's best to wait.
If he's going to put his name on it, I guess.
Exactly,
Follow
yeah.
his rules.
All right, we are putting our water meter and sewer tap over here, kind of front third of the property lot. The corner is like where that minivan is, basically, and Miles is going to the other manhole cover, and we have this cone on this manhole cover, so he's going to sight down to make sure I'm lined up here so we can see where our sewer line is. Miles worked some kind of magic trick and drew a green line here and a white line there, and look it! We have a water meter under here.
I happened to find the one drawing out of the 20 copies that had a little note about a meter here.
This is amazing. There's already a meter. And if you look in the manhole over there, there's a sewer line that's running this direction.
Yeah,
so
it's marked.
that's the green?
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder how far it goes though.
I don't know, but when they put this meter box in, that's when they put the sewer line in too.
So it, more than likely it at least comes to the meter.
Yeah.
The 91 freeway in Riverside, California.
That's serious. How?
It blew the windshield right out of the excavator. And water was shooting about 200 feet.
You finished topping that off, Nathan?
Yes.
And you did the other side?
Yes. Sweet.
Full thing. It's on right now? Oh! There's a leak, huh? Maybe that's where our groundwater is coming from.
Probably.
Wow.
Isn't it possible?
We're like detectives.
If there, that's why all this ground could be saturated.
Could be.
It's just been leaking under there for years.
And then we just probably there was water to the building, and that's somewhere broken off.
And no one shut the main off, ever.
Yeah.
Someone's been paying for a whole lot of water.
Nope, he hasn't been billing for it. They didn't even know there was a meter.
There's no account for this property.
Alright, that's it for today. We got this reorganized and cleaned out a little bit so that we actually know where everything is and it's all accessible. And blew it out with the leaf blower, so it's good. Parked the machine over there, took the key out. Tomorrow we'll be digging this up so we can find our water and sewer line, tie a hydrant to it. And engineer will come day after tomorrow to look at the soils. So the meter in there had been turning, so the water was on and running underneath here somewhere. So we kind of think that this groundwater that we hit under all these posts is just actually from the water leak that's been running for 20 years or more, because this meter had been lost and unknown for a long time. Miles with the water district, he found an old map that was just hand drawn and showed that there was a meter there, and so we found it, dug it up, and it was turning, water was flowing. And the district didn't even know about it because it was so old and outdated, and this lot had been vacant for so many years, decades. So yeah, we're hoping that our sinking and settling issue is just because of the water leak. But the engineer will be here Friday, we'll find out for sure. So we're putting this rebar in place in these pier footings for where they need to go in the perimeter footings. We found the best way to fasten them is cut up to our height, which is 24 inches from the top, is where the rebar needs to be. And we cut a little notch in them with the pole saw. Then put the rebar in so it's going continuous through our perimeter footings, and then we just bent them up for now so that we could bend this down and tie it to our other rebar. Nice.
That's great.
That pole saw works pretty good because you can reach down in there to cut the bottom of it without having to actually reach in there. But if I could make it confusing enough for you, our post footings here are just for the old structure, the old posts. And then we're going to put new regular kind of footings, so continuous perimeter footings, around the whole thing. And on top of our new footings is where our new walls are going to sit. So our post footings will interfere with our continuous perimeter footings. I'll show you on the drawing here. Here we go. So these are our post footings for the existing column foundation. And that's 3 foot from top of slab to bottom of footing. So we're roughly 2.5 feet, about 30 inches deep in the ground, because it's a 6-inch slab. Now these go under all of the existing posts. Okay, got that under all the existing posts. A 18-inch or 24-inch diameter. Those are all 18, and then some of them are 24s. Okay, 18, 24, 18, 18, 18, 18, 24, 18, 18, 18, 18. Able. Hey, don't do that. And then that one's a 24. Okay, but our new building needs to go just outside of those posts, our new walls. So this column here that it shows in the drawing is the cross-section view of those. Okay, so that one there, that column there. So our new wall is going to go right outside of that column, but our new wall has to sit centered on top of this footing. But now imagine this being right here. Okay, so it's going to block it comes about to here, the edge of it, and there's a piece of rebar. And this is the same as this. Okay, so we're going to move right here. This piece of rebar needs to be continuous, unbroken, around the entire perimeter of the building, in the foundation, in the footing. It has to be continuous or overlapped by 50 diameters or something, like 25 inches overlap. So this would have to go through these footings after they're poured, which would be a pain because we'd have to drill holes through this to put the rebar through so it can be continuous around the whole foundation. So instead, that's what we're doing here. That's why we have this rebar. Because our new footing on the outside is going to go, it's going to go from here, and it's 2 feet wide, to about here. Footing going this way along the string. So this rebar is not actually part of this post footing. But since this post footing is overlapping the exterior continuous footing, this is the rebar that goes in the exterior continuous footing. We just have to put it in place now before we pour these. Otherwise, yada, yada, yada. Our other concrete that we're pouring for the post would be in the way of the new concrete we have to do for the continuous footing. So I hope that was confusing enough and you're lost, because that's the best I can do. So it looked weird. We have rebar sticking up. It's just bent up out of the way so that we'll be able to dig in here without hitting the rebar. And then once our trenches are dug, we can bend the rebar down, and then look at that. We have continuous rebar all the way around. Obviously, in these bigger gaps between posts, we'll add more rebar in, so it'll tie from that piece going and tie to that piece. So that's where we're at. Engineers coming tomorrow morning, which is Friday. I will not be here. We have our district track meet in Sutherland, Oregon. So Dad will be here to meet with the engineer, whose name is also Daryl. He's a great guy. It's a good name. And he will let us know what we need to do, if anything, about our water issue. So our settling issue with the post settling while we're working on the building, I think it has already been solved. Because we found this water meter over here yesterday, which services this property, and it was unknown and lost to the ages, and Miles found some old drawing that showed there might be a water meter, and there's our meter. So we found this, we opened it up, and the meter was rolling, and a little bit of water came out of that spigot, but it was so faint. So with the spigot off, the meter was still rolling, it was going, and it was putting out a lot of water. And the meters are pretty accurate. It's one of the old style meters that they're very familiar with. They've upgraded all the other meters in the town, so he's ordered a new one that we're going to put there. But all that to say, it's an accurate meter, even though it was old. It just wasn't wireless communication or something. That's why they upgraded them. But it was showing gallons and gallons and gallons of water coming through. somewhere on this property about 3 feet deep, which is exactly what we see with the water showing up when we dug those post footings. So we turned that water off. There's still going to be a lot of water underground because I talked to the homeowner here, and she said her dad owned this property for years and years and years. She said the latest anyone would have ever known there was a meter there was 20 years ago or more. So in all likelihood, that meter was on and open for 20 plus years, dumping water underneath this structure. I don't even know what to think about that, other than I'm glad we found the meter and turned off the water. So when the engineer's here, we'll explain all that to him and see if there's anything special we need to do for our foundation. He's going to test the soils, but I mean, the soil here isn't like bad or incredibly loose, soft soil. I think it's just because it was so saturated. The building was floating on a raft, that 3 foot deep mud raft on top of water leaking underground. But this is, I mean, it's got clay in it. It's not terrible stuff. So I think we're going to be fine to proceed as planned on the drawings. But he'll confirm tomorrow, and then Monday we'll hit it hard with the mud mixer and fill all these post footings, and we'll be able to progress much more quickly than we have been. So I'm excited. We were looking for where the sewer line was, because we thought it would come through this way, but couldn't find it. So we're gonna have to dig further back near the manhole cover where the sewer tap is. But here we have our temporary water hooked up to a spigot. Miles is ordering the new meter for this from the water district. So we're gonna have water that we can hook up to mix concrete. So when John was here digging for us to get our spigot in, he also dug a deeper, about 7 foot, 6 foot, 7 foot deep down at that end. So that the groundwater that's been leaking from that meter for years is now going to settle in the lowest spot. So he dug this, it filled up, we're going to pump it out, let it fill up again, pump it out, fill it up, pump it out. So all the water that's underground here, we're going to be able to pump out a majority of it. Definitely more than half, but a lot of that water we're going to be able to get rid of so that we can continue on these pylons and stuff without hitting just a whole bunch of water down there and getting in our way. All right, it's Monday. I've been gone since Wednesday. Wednesday last week I had a district track finals or track meet. So I've been gone, but the engineer came on Friday, and he pretty much wants us to drive T-posts down under these and get as deep as we can until we hit firmer ground. So we got 7 foot T-posts, and he wants us to get the tops of them about a foot down from the top of the concrete. So we need to drive them down to about there. So Chuck welded up a cup tip for the jackhammer. It's already broken twice, so he's going to repair that again, and we're using that to drive them down pretty far until they hit more solid ground. So the engineer wanted between 4 and 6 T-posts per footing. So on these bigger footings we're doing 6, and on the smaller ones we're doing 4. The 18-inch ones we're doing 4. So you can see T-posts in all of these. So this was the solution that he and my dad came up with, because he was talking about running steel piles down under these, but it ended up making more sense to do the T-posts just because they're accessible and we can get them, and they're still good steel. So that's what we're doing there. got a call back from the engineer. He said we were greenlit, ready to go for these. He's not thrilled about doing the T-posts like this, but he wanted a practical solution for us that we could actually do with this building in place. So the T-posts are good steel, and they're coated too, and they're built for going, they're built for going in the ground. And he doesn't particularly like having the steel in the ground and then also in the concrete. But this structure is all, at this point, aesthetic, and it's getting a whole new structure around the outside. So we're doing pier foundation, like pylons, instead of the continuous footing. So our new building is going to be supporting this one. So this really is just acting as a way, these footings are just acting as a way for us to brace the existing building up, have it secured, so we can tear out this concrete and work around it without all this bracing in the way. So we can have something, set those posts down, bolt them to these pier footings or post footings, take off the bracing, and then prepare for our actual foundation that will be holding the structure. So more or less, these post footings are a temporary footing for the construction process of the new building. Elijah finished putting in all the T-posts. This one's got four in here. All the 18s have 4. And they're hitting pretty solid. Pretty solid ground. They're really stiffening up after like 2 feet down, 2.5, and then we're able to just keep driving them with the jackhammer. But it's pretty solid once you get down a little bit. Be our 3rd time draining the ditch. So Miles said it is so smart and he's a genius. Aren't you so proud that you work for Miles part-time?
Yeah.
He's so smart.
Maybe we should have built a pond there and throw some bass in.
Hey, we could sell it to Sheila. Hey, we're gonna do a koi pond for you. It's only gonna be an extra $45K. We got it. This is our 3rd time draining it out and it's filling up. And that's just been in the last 4 hours or so. And good news, some of our post footings, the water at the base of them is going down. So it's working very clearly. So I'm excited about that. We're going to carry on with pouring these post footings today. We're not going to finish all of them today because it's 2 o'clock. So we've got a few more hours, about 3 more hours. So we'll get a good amount done. We got this one in place. Concrete's poured to the top. We need to put our anchor base plates on. This one, we'll actually be able to see how long this one takes because we started at 140. It's 153 now. So they'll take, I guess we didn't start consistently at 140. It's been going about 6-7 minutes and it's about halfway done. So we'll take about 15 to 20 minutes a piece plus moving time in between. So there's how many? 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. There's 13 of them total. Times, say, 30 minutes, and you're at a full day for one guy, pretty much 8 man hours, and we'll be able to get all these post footings done. So we'll probably get up to there today, and then we'll start in the morning, and we'll be able to get the rest of them done tomorrow, and we'll have to let those set for a day or two to cure and harden, and then we'll start letting this whole building down, rest on. So that'll be a good day. Probably Thursday, maybe Wednesday. We could start with these ones that we've done today, but we'll see. We'll play it really safe. Okay, that was a call from FedEx Freight. They're bringing our other attachments for the skid steer today. He's about 40 minutes away, so that's awesome. Getting a skeleton bucket with the grapple that we can use to start tearing out all this concrete. So while I was gone, they finished stripping off all the forms and started bolting down all these posts. Some of them, kind of have to figure out where to put those anchors. And we got pretty close on all of them for lining up, because our posts were all in the wrong spot and we had to lay out our footings while our posts were in the wrong spot. So it was a little funky, but so ones like this where it blew out, we'll see, but most likely we'll just take this one and move it to this side instead and do an anchor. We'll see. Or we'll leave it here and we'll pour our slab, which will fill in all this concrete here and cover that whole thing without a problem. It's just we started anchoring them and the concrete was a little too green still, and there's some spots where it's just too close to the edge. Like this one's probably going to do fine. It's about 2.5 inches from the edge there. But nonetheless, our anchors and post spaces here were really just for temporarily supporting the building and the weight of the existing structure, which is not a lot. And then we're doing new footings all around it. We also got updates from the engineer Friday, and then updated drawings this morning for our new foundation style. So we are going to drill 12-inch auger holes 6 foot deep, every 4 foot spacing, the whole way around the building. So we're doing that instead of a continuous footing, because the ground here is so poor quality, not very sturdy ground. So drilling 6 feet down, we're going to hit a lot harder ground, so that the whole building will be essentially resting on stilts in the ground. And we got our auger. There's the auger bit. Got that in Thursday, and that'll mount to that skid steer, and then I have an extension for it, so it's a 4 foot, and we have a 2 foot extension, so we could drill our 6 foot holes, and that extension's coming with FedEx today too. So today we're going to finish our anchor bolts, which there's just 4 more posts that need them, and start taking out the concrete slab. First we got to clean all the stuff off of it, and then with that grapple bucket we'll be able to start taking out chunks of the concrete slab. We have to at least get all the edges removed so that we can drill our auger holes without filling them in and accidentally working around them. But once those are drilled and we put rebar in them, then we'll get our inspection scheduled. So I'm hoping we can get the inspection done maybe Wednesday, maybe Thursday, but this week is the goal. Get the inspection finished, and then we're moving, finally making good progress again after that whole issue with the footings not being good. But I'm glad I caught that anyways though, and the engineers are very thankful that I notified them that I thought that it wasn't good, and they checked it out, and turns out it wasn't good. So we have our new plan of action stamped and approved and all clear as of this morning. So we'll carry on with that. This is what came from FedEx. It's a hitch mount, move trailers around, land plane. This is the mount, this is the plane. They bolt together. 2 foot extension for the auger. And skeleton bucket with the grapple. And this is going to come in handy big time for taking out that concrete slab that's in there. Got teeth on it too. It's really great for clearing out rocks or debris or anything like that, and for grabbing bigger rocks or concrete pieces. I'm gonna get this attached and make sure it works okay there. And then I gotta go into town today, so I'm leaving here pretty soon. I'm gonna leave these guys to it. Tuesday, the power company estimator is supposed to come out today. It's 11:30 right now. He should be here in about an hour, and we're gonna see if we can underground this power. We have the pump house here where there's gonna be a well in there, and what we want to do, talk to the electrician about it already, but we want to put the meter here on the pump house and then go underground to that transformer. So we got that scheduled like 3 weeks ago. Is the soonest, today's the soonest time that he could come out with the power company to let us know if we can do that or not. So in the meantime, we're continuing on this concrete, ripping it out. And today I really want to try drilling one of our auger holes just to see how it goes. And we want to get them all drilled this week and rebar in them and inspected. So that's kind of the big push for this week. I wanted to point out right now, see these posts and that one there too. They're leaning, kind of leaning this way. And we put the footings where we needed the bottoms of the posts to be. And so now we have to kind of pull on the top. The whole building is sort of twisted like this and this, so we have to pull that top over on this west side more, and then on the far side, the east side, kind of have to keep it where it is. So Dad's over there working on, he's anchoring that corner. That's kind of our zero corner. And we need that to stay in place because it's plumb. And then we'll put straps and come-alongs to kind of twist the building into line so that all our posts are plumb and it's all lined up nicely. But now that the bases are anchored, or mostly anchored, Nathan's finishing that up, we can actually move the building exactly where we need it to be. Bryce got a big piece. Dang. That looks kind of heavy. Here. Nice. Can you believe it? Today is Bryce's first day. First day driving the Meerkat. He's getting the hang of it pretty good. The county was okay with it.
Okay,
So.
good, yeah.
And the electrician said he actually preferred it that way.
Yeah.
Because you have that that cycle from the pump going all the time. So he likes having your main power here.
Is that right here in the corner?
Yeah, yeah. Probably up out there.
Yeah, 40.
Yeah, for the middle of the meter.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to go underground from here to the pole.
Yeah, it's like 45. No, 40.
Not too far. Because what was here, there was a meter on that building overhead from the transformer.
Okay.
That was here.
Oh, okay, went all the way through.
Yeah, we had that taken down in December so that we could start demoing it. Oh, free money!
Always good. I think it felt like it went through the washer.
It looks like it, doesn't it?
Oh, it's $22. Better
Hey, you got lunch.
Okay.
Because we can trench. I could do the trenching and everything, put the conduit down, whatever's needed.
Yeah, as I say, when a customer wants to go underground, it's their responsibility to do trench conduit.
Okay.
Is it 200 amp?
Yeah, 200 amp service.
Do you remember what size the well's going to be, or what size the horsepower the well is?
I don't know the horsepower. It's not that deep. It's like 150 deep,
Okay.
and it's
not
like
worth
25, 30 gallons a minute.
Yeah, it's probably not worth it. Probably a couple horse.
Yeah, nothing crazy. And then the water heater, range, dryers, all gas. So the estimator was good with what we wanted to do. Since the customer here, doing this house for her, but she also wants to do a small house over here. Excuse the trash pile, but she wants to do a small house over here too, which we might start on later this year. So he recommended doing a ground distribution box. So we'll come down from the pole, from the transformer, and then we'll set a box there on the lot line, and then go underground from the box to the pump house with the meter, and from the box to this house with the meter. And we can put a 200 amp panel on both, and he said there's plenty of space still on that transformer that we don't need to get another one. We're good to go, and the allowance that they have per house hookup, since she's doing 2 houses, that allowance is going to cover all of the expense of going up the pole and the wire to the meter and the distribution box and everything, so there shouldn't be any extra expenses there. So that's good news. And now I don't have any pins. I don't have any pins big enough for this, but I want to try running the auger just to see how it does and see how the soil is. So let's see. So yesterday I stopped with drilling a couple test holes with the auger. I sent a little clip, a video to the engineers and showed them kind of what kind of soil we're hitting. And they were okay with it. They're okay with the water being there. They are good with it. They said we are ready to pour, no problem. So we are continuing drilling auger holes. You can see all the piles of dirt over. Isaac's jackhammering because the existing slab's in the way of some of the holes we need to put in. Engineers sent over new spec sheets for us for how we're doing these pylon footings. And we're drilling the holes and gonna start cutting our rebar pieces to length. And we're shooting to get an inspection the day after tomorrow. So today the big thing is getting all the holes drilled and getting all the rebar cut. And then tomorrow we'll be placing the rebar, tying it up, bracing it up so it's all in place so the inspector can check it Friday. And so our footing inspection is the next big milestone on this job, especially since we've had so many issues with the foundation. So we're gonna work out our Japanese.
Yeah, you have to write it down the notes in Japanese.
Yeah. For Japanese inspection here. Oh, it's windy. So we're gonna get our cut list for our rebar now. And I'm going over to start prep on another concrete pour just down the street here. So we're kind of doing a bunch of things today. With much struggling and tribulation, we've been jackhammering with this little guy, and it's just not doing it. So to get the rest of this demoed out, we're renting a bigger skid steer with a breaker attachment. The rental place, they thought they had a smaller breaker that would fit on, where is it? That. But then he looked and he found out they don't have one. So we have to rent a full-size skid steer, the machine, the trailer, and the breaker, instead of just renting the attachment. So instead of $100, it's like 600, but that's actually gonna work. Can you try this one again? I got it. Alright, I think if you can reach it, but I think we're good now. Thursday is the big day to finish for inspection. We ended up having to rent that with the breaker on it because we had some slabs in here that were just too big. So we got that in. It took like 2 hours, less than 2 hours, to finish breaking all this up with it. And our grapple bucket from Titan broke. Some of the welds broke on it, like second day using it. So I guess we found out why it was so cheap with free shipping. Like, well, it's the quality's not really there. So Chuck, he's a certified welder, has actually like 6 different welding certifications, but he was looking at it and he's going to just repair it for now so we can use it to finish clearing this out today. It'll take him like an hour maybe. And then he's going to cut most of the, probably all the welds on that grapple bucket and redo all the welds. Because the steel that's there is, you know, worthwhile, and it's pretty heavy duty. It's just the welding on it is awful. Just awful welding. So we're gonna get that just repaired so we can finish this, clear those out of the way, and then finish clearing out our holes. We have all of our holes drilled. We just need to go back and finish cleaning them out. I guess there's a couple more holes that go under here where there's an interior wall, but this one got kind of filled back in driving over it. But we're gonna re-clean each one of them out just to be sure. And I'm scheduling an inspection for tomorrow. And what else have we got? Oh, all the rebar is cut now for our pylon holes. So we'll have all this rebar staged next to the holes ready to go in for the inspector to see, but we're going to see if he's okay with us not having them in place during inspection so that we could start pouring concrete and then place them into the wet concrete so they stay away, so we stay with our 3-inch clearance all the way around. I think it'll be a lot easier to place them like that because we can't see 6 foot down there if the rebar is in line like it needs to be. It is Tuesday, day after Memorial Day, and had a good weekend, but we did it. We did it, guys. We got Caleb to move to Oregon to come work with us. So Caleb was the one that we worked on that loft addition project down in San Diego. And I talked to him a lot about coming up here to work, and he ended up he just got married a couple weeks ago, and before their wedding they were looking for places that they could move into after the wedding, and they couldn't find anywhere. It's the whole story, right? So it was a great option for him and his new wife to come up here. So he is part of the team, and today is his first day, so we should see him here. Yep, he's here. I'm excited about it. It's gonna be good. So we have a lot of the interior post holes drilled out already. Just need to be cleaned up a little bit.
Come on, girl.
Did you do it?
I'm doing it.
It is.
I think your truck's in the way, Dad. This is the new. Okay. So we're running into a little problem with these pylon holes. There's just so much sludge. It's just, that's what's coming out. And they're full of water. And when you're drilling with the auger, it doesn't want to bring that out because it just slips off back into the hole. So we're trying to think of what would work best. A cardboard sonotube is just going to fall apart after a few hours in there because it's soaked. So we're gonna try using some sheet metal, like flashing or old roofing, whatever we can find, to roll it up in a tube and push it down to act as a lining on our holes, so that we could clean out the sludge with a pump, and so it doesn't fill back up with sludge immediately. So, because the engineer's fine with there being water in there, that doesn't matter. He said it'll be displaced when we pour the concrete, but the mud we have to get out as well as we can. A solution. Miles came in clutch on this one. We are using sheet metal. Here, I'll show you over here. But he had some old roofing, brought some out to just test it for proof of concept. But we're using sheet metal as our hole liners. Use the sheet metal, and then we could push it down. This is 5 foot long, so it's sticking way down in there, and then you can scoop out the gunk from in there. So we'll probably have to take these ones back out, but you can see how clean that one looks. And then you can use the water pump, which is right there. Put the water pump down in there and it'll pump out all the sludge, and then it fills back up, which is clean water, which is totally fine. So since we know this is going to work, I called one of the supply houses in town, and they have 26 gauge sheet metal, three foot wide pieces that we can cut to length, roll, and force down into each footing hole, and then that'll expand to the wall, and then we'll have liners on our footings so that it doesn't just fill back up with sludge. So it looks like it's going to work perfectly. Probably perfect, as perfect as perfect can be, because if we use the cardboard sonotubes, they would just get soggy really, like within an hour or so, and we need these to be able to sit for at least a couple of days for the inspector to come out, check them, and then for us to pour the concrete. So these were our test pilot holes, and so we're going to get the metal that's going to work better for it, and it'll look a lot cleaner. It doesn't really matter how it looks because it's all going to be buried, but that's what we're doing.